feel like you have a lot on your plate and you want to outperform in every task of yours, but at the same time, you have a very limited bandwidth, and that leaves you with a feeling of overwhelming? So today we have our guest, Rija Irfan, who has been working in the education sector. She has been associated with multiple startups, and right now she is associated with sports and international sales as well. So Rija, the thing that I just explained, that how we are left with overwhelming feeling and we want to do this and that, and if anything misses out, that leaves us the feeling of uh, unproductive, and we are not enough, right? So what's your take on it?
Hi, Rida. Nice to meet you, and thank you for the introduction. So you've brought in a lot of different aspects, that seem important, like feeling of self-worth, feeling like you're missing out, feeling like you want to achieve, feeling like, there's so many things that I want to do. What do I do, right? I feel like because we're in the age of information overload, where everything is so accessible and on the tips of our fingers, we feel like we're able to achieve everything. But what we actually need to understand is that we're one person. We have capacity for a limited number of things, and we have a capacity for a limited number of working hours in the day that we can, because obviously we have to prioritize our mental health, our sleep, our physical habits, as well as the priorities in terms of work and things we want to achieve in life. So how do you balance all of this?
While working, we have multiple tasks going on, and we want to outperform everything. हम हर चीज चाहते हैं, like we do with efficiency and clarity, but at the same time we end up not giving our 100% to every task. So how do you manage that?
Because we take on so many things on our plate, we feel like we're not good at anything. And that's where prioritization comes in. You have to identify and decide on what your priorities are, which things that you have now taken on are important in reality and also urgent.
We have a lot of tasks on our plate, and by task I mean sometimes the projects are going on at the same time. You have operations to manage, costs to manage, then you have people to manage as well. So in that regard, when you have so many things going on, how do you prioritize?
So that is where you need to identify your priorities according to the impact as well as the time. So this is so I would suggest a very good theory, which is called the Eisenhower matrix, where I divide your priorities according to importance and urgencies. So you make a chart where you have two of identifying factors as urgent and not urgent, and important and not important. So the tasks that are urgent and important, you do them right away, right? And then there are tasks that are not important, but they're urgent. So what you can do is you can delegate those tasks which are important but not urgent to someone in your team who works under you, so that they are done, because obviously they're urgent and they need to be done right away. Then there are tasks that could be urgent but not important. So you could schedule a time in your day or the week for you to do those tasks that are important because of priority but not urgent, right? And then there are tasks that are not urgent and not important. It's best to not do those tasks if you're short of time and you don't have enough bandwidth.
And we can schedule those tasks for later on.
Yeah, it depends on your priority. So you have to prioritize in that way if you have so much on your plate going on. Yeah.
Very important question that our audience has brought up, and they wanted us to discuss that, is that, as you know, that in right now in our work life we are supposed to do multitasking, right? That's a given thing. But when we are doing that, we are unable to give our 100% to every particular thing, number one. And there's another issue, is that there's a lack of focus, like the span of focus has been reduced, right? And that has impacted somehow somewhere, right? So how prioritization help in fixing these two problems?
So if you go into the research and in theory, human beings are not built to multitask. You can only focus on one task at one time. So if you're trying to multitask at one point in time and handle too many things at the same time, it will lead to lack of focus, and you will feel like you're losing control, and you won't feel like you're on top of what you're doing, and you will also feel like you're not giving it your 100%, because the environment that you've created for yourself is something that is not helping you in achieving to your 100% capabilities. So the simple solution when it comes to prioritization is to divide your tasks into bite-sized pieces. So for instance, if I have a bigger task, I divide it into shorter shorter tasks that I can then attach timelines to. So for instance, if a task requires me to research and also work with some stakeholders, and also eventually compile and give the results to someone, or if it's an urgent task that's been given to my manager and I have to do both of these things together, so I will divide them into bite-sized pieces and time them, and see which task I can do urgently, will take very less time, and which requires only my input. Those are the ones that I will just knock off quickly, and the ones that require people's input, I would also connect with the people that I have to, give them a timeline, that this is the time that I have, and I need this data by that time, so that that information is communicated to them, and then I start off with the ones that I need to get done with as soon as possible, and then manage my time according to that. So if you put yourself up to a shorter timeline, you'll be able to achieve that task in a short time. If you feel like if you put yourself up for a really long broad timeline, your task will expand to that timeline.
I totally agree with you. Sometimes हम अपने किसी गोल की बहुत लंबी टाइमलाइन रख लेते हैं तो उसको बहुत टाइम लगता है, और वही काम अगर हम छोटी टाइमलाइन में कर रहे हो तो उसको हम उसी टाइमलाइन में कर लेते हैं. So that goes with our exams as well, right? अच्छा, मुझे एक बात बताएं रिजा, आपका क्या ख्याल है कि कम्युनिकेशन कितना पार्ट प्ले करता है इन प्रायोरिटाइजेशन? सो फॉर एग्जांपल, you report to two different people sometimes, and both of them gives you different tasks, and those both tasks are important and urgent as well.
Communication, if there are multiple stakeholders, has a very important role when it comes to prioritization. For instance, maybe if you have two managers and they are aloof of each other's responsibilities, and there's no communication between them, and you're the only, or you're one of the people that works in their team, and your role is overlapping for both managers, then you would obviously have to be very open with your communication, in the sense you let them know about the task that you're doing currently, for which manager and how much time would that take and what impact that is creating. If you need help, you can always ask them to put in more people on top of on the task, so that if the time is short, multiple people divide responsibilities according to division of labor, and the task is done quickly. And no workplace actually expects the person to burn out, because if you burn out, and it's not beneficial for them in the long term, because if the employee gets sick or is not efficient, that's actually loss of revenue or ROI in the long term.
I think for any stakeholders or managers, this is very, very important that you communicate it to them. Whatever you are doing, they should be aware of all the projects and all the things that you have been doing. I think my take on that is also that you communicate well about your work, and also your personal life as well. Like, what are your priorities and your goals, right? So that's very, very important, that we should engage our stakeholders, either it's your manager, vendors, or anyone, to level that they know what you are up to. And that's also brings us to the point of that when your manager is aware of what you are doing, that's also enables your visibility as well. So Rija, as we have talked about prioritization, how to do prioritization, important, urgent, then how to plan your prioritize, मतलब आपने prioritize कर लिया है, अब आपने उसको किस तरह से manage करना है चीजों को. There you told us about time management, and communication is the very, very important key here, how to do that. So what are the key takeaways that you want our audience to go away with that?
At the end of the day, we're all human beings, right? And we shouldn't be harsh on ourselves. We should know that nothing is 100%. We cannot be perfect. So the best thing to do is take action. Number one, find ways to make it easy for you to take action. For an example, the example that I gave, to make bite-sized tasks, just start doing things that are easy for you to do, so that you feel like you're capable of taking action. And once you get in that flow, work will just happen. So take action. Number two, don't be too hard on yourself. Number three, don't be a perfectionist. You can even go back to the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the work requires 20% of the input. And again, when it comes to prioritization, it always comes with practice. So start practicing this, this strategy that I've explained to you. And once you get a hang of it, you'll get in the flow and things would get better.
Guys, Rija took us through the whole framework of prioritization and how we can do that. So for me, from today, right now, what I'll start doing is, first of all, I will analyze every task of mine with the eye of importance and urgency, and then make a priority list, and then make a proper plan for the execution of all the tasks that have been given to me that are on my plate right now. If you are feeling overwhelmed, then first of all, manage your emotions. That's very, very important. And then communicate it with your manager and ask for help. Asking for help is very important. And even if you are unable to prioritize or act on your priority list, seek help from your colleagues. And that one thing that I would really like what you said, that was that, guys, perfection is not a badge that we should wear. Perfection is something that we should throw out of the room, because no one is perfect and everyone should try to give their best. So thank you so much.